What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Podcast 129. My name is Hunter Waldrop. To my right is Mr. Tyler Vaughn. And at the very bottom down there, them dogs is hell, Mr. Jake Stenchcombe himself. Fellas, how we doing this evening?
Good, man. Excited to have you back. Very grateful that you're here with us today. Glad you could make it to your own show. But hey, ready to dive into some week 5.
Yeah, great slate of football this weekend. I'm really excited to watch some games. Excited to be in Athens for this for when the Tide come to town. Ready for it to get started tomorrow night.
Yeah, guys, really looking forward to it. It's beautiful, September 24th, 2025. Another great day that the Lord has given us. Another great day to talk college football with the pals. So we have the most loaded slate of the year this far, and it might go down as the most loaded slate of this entire season. So I'm not going to sit here and ramble on too much longer. Let's just hop right on into it, fellas.
As always, we are on our socials. We're on TikTok. We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter. Hunter does a great job on Instagram, not just near game day on Saturdays, but throughout the week, being active on our Instagram page. So if you're listening to this, please go follow us on Instagram. Hunter, you do a great job, big dog, on there. We're on Twitter. We haven't been as active on Twitter as we'd like to be, but hey, we're busy on Saturdays. All right. Once the bevs get flowing, anything can happen. All right. As far as TikTok goes, we're busy. All right. That's the best way to put it. But the main thing is just go follow us because that just gives us confidence to get on there and do it. When we feel like there's nobody looking at it, why in the hell are we going to get on there and post anything? So if you're listening to this right now, take 5 seconds out of your day to go to all 3 social media accounts. Just give us a follow. That's all I ask for. Appreciate it.
That's one way of putting it,
that,
Jake.
I'm just being – transparency is key, boys. All right? I've said that a lot here lately. Transparency is key.
All right, fellas. Like I said, huge weekend of football. Our first of many ranked matchups going into this week. This one, top 10 matchup. This has got narrative written all over it, right? We have the number 6 Oregon Ducks traveling coast to coast to Happy Valley, Pennsylvania, take on the 3rd-ranked Penn State Nittany Lions. James Franklin and the boys are laying 3.5. Tyler, I'll get your thoughts first because I know you and I both had Penn State to win the national title preseason. And so their first few games, they played Villanova, they played FIU, and they played some other no-name team. And they haven't really looked, quote-unquote, the part. But we kind of saw this with UGA, University of Georgia, the first few weeks, and they're playing Austin Peay and Marshall. They come out in Tennessee and they were lightning in a bottle, and they unleash a powerhouse offense that dropped 44. So my question to you guys to start it off is has Penn State just been bottling it up? Have they been playing extra conservative going into this Oregon game and just waiting to let it unleash this upcoming Saturday?
I think yes. I think they've been coasting, kind of getting ready to play in this. They've got a couple games on their schedule that I think they're kind of saving a little bit for. Don't want to tire their guys out if they don't have to. I think that they know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly where they're at, and they're happy with it. I think, like you kind of said, I do have Penn State as my national title winner this year. I'm just going to throw it out there. I think Penn State wins this game and covers. I think Penn State is the more complete team up to this point. Yeah, Oregon's offense has looked electric. However, they haven't played a defense like Penn State's. I think the Nittany Lions are going to be juiced up, ready to go. Freaking wide out in Happy Valley. Doesn't get much better than that. I've got Penn State. Give me a final score of, I'll go 31-24, Penn State.
Good stuff, Tyler. My biggest thing, and I guess not takeaway, but thought on this is what the hell does Penn State look like? Because they're obviously sitting there at the top 25 at number 3. and they've played Villanova, FIU, and Nevada, and it hadn't been much. They haven't had that like crazy blowout win. Like they beat Villanova 52-6, but that's like given. And there's been a lot of slow starts every week, and we're like, damn, they're only winning 13-0 at halftime. And there just hadn't been a lot of spark out of Happy Valley so far. And whereas Oregon, on the other hand, has came out and just bang, 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 69-3 against Oklahoma State, 59 points against Montana State. That offense looks explosive. And I'm interested to see what type of game this is, whether it's a shootout, which is probably what Oregon wants to get into, or is it a low-scoring game with defense and long drives, which is what Penn State wants to get into. Interested to see what the tempo is of the game and what that looks like throughout on Saturday night. This is a big spot for Dante Moore in his first road start in a very hostile environment. And I'm just excited to watch Penn State play. Like, I have watched maybe 2 or 3 snaps of Penn State all year, and it was right before halftime of the FIU game when they were barely winning, and I turned it over there. Like, I feel like I've watched a lot of Oregon and their blowouts and other teams that haven't really played anybody. This Penn State, we haven't heard anything about Penn State. We just know that they're sitting at number 3. So what are they going to look like on Saturday night? That's the main thing. I like Penn State. I have Penn State in my national championship, but it just sniffs Oregon. I hate it. This is my least favorite pick of the week, but I think Oregon's going to win the game. I really do. I'll take the Ducks 31-30. Hunter, what do you think?
Yeah. So, is it just me, or does this game have the same vibes as Tennessee versus Georgia 2 weeks ago? Right, like Tennessee comes in, they're blowing people out. Like they played a quote unquote named opponent. They played a P4 opponent, and Syracuse week 1, and they were just dropping bombs everywhere and played 2 FCS schools and just dropping points left and right. And then everybody's like, gosh, Georgia looks like crap. They only beat Austin Peay 28-10, 28-7, whatever it was. Like, not good. And then Georgia comes out and their offense wins them the game, not their defense. So I'm very curious to see if that plays true in this game. The stat that nobody has said that I'm not scared to say, James Franklin is 4-20 versus top 10 opponents while at Penn State. That's really, really bad. But guys, this game comes down to Drew Allar. It's about Drew Allar. At the end of the day, that's what this game's about. He's only had 6 explosive play throws, I think is the stat on PFF, which ranks for 93rd in the country out of 136. This game cannot come down to the running backs, because I saw these 2 running backs, Allen and Singleton. They ran for 290 on Oregon in the Big Ten championship last year, and they lost. So you can tell me Penn State's going to be able to just establish a great run game and beat Oregon, but I literally saw them run for sub 300 yards last year, just under it, and came up short. So has Penn State's offense been bottled up? If that's the case, I feel confident in my national championship pick, and so should Tyler. But if it hasn't been bottled up and they are slow starts and there are just so many more questions, like is Pena the real deal at receiver? They brought him from Syracuse. Like if those are still question marks, it's time to become skeptical again. This game also comes down to Penn State cannot settle for 3. You cannot settle for 3 in this game. You can't get inside the 20 where the field just gets so much smaller and not find a way to punch it in. It can't happen. You will lose this game outright. As far as Oregon goes, what I have here is they have the 50th rush defense. So not great, but they're not bad either. They're just right there in the middle. So I do think Allen and Singleton will get theirs. I don't know if it'll be as efficient as last year's Big Ten championship game between these 2, but I still think they'll get theirs. Dante Moore. This guy's been playing rock solid football, been throwing some beautiful passes, has had a really good downfield arm this year. So I'm very interested to see what he does going on the road into a hostile environment for the first time. Right, I think he had 1 road start at UCLA when he was a freshman. That was against USC, which, I mean, whatever. I don't take a lot of stock in a home field advantage for USC at the Coliseum. Outside of that, he's Had another road start at Northwestern where I think they sat all of 15,000 people, and I think half of them were Oregon fans. So also don't take that into account. So this is his real first road start. And what we've seen with even very talented quarterbacks such as Bryce Underwood, Arch Manning. Yes, I know Arch Manning hasn't looked good even after the Ohio State game, but he did struggle on the road to Ohio State. Will that also play true for Dante Moore in Happy Valley? Because Tyler brought up good points. Wideout. This is the first wideout at night that Penn State has had in a big game in a long time. They've always been stuck at noon, and they finally got theirs at night this year. The key matchup I'm looking for in this game is freshman receiver for Oregon, DeCorian Moore, versus A.J. Harris, who I think A.J. Harris has only allowed one reception through 3 games. Now, granted, it was Nevada, FIU, and Villanova, but still, I don't care who you're playing. That's still really good football. I'm curious to see how Oregon's offensive line does on the road. They've looked good so far, but I think Penn State's defensive front is legit. I think they have the 12th best pressure rate as far as pressure on the quarterback going into this game. So lots of question marks. Guys, it just comes down to this. Penn State knows they can't lose it. They can't lose this game. I know it smells like Oregon. Oregon's a popular pick right now. But if Penn State loses this game, it's already going to be tough to go on the road and beat Ohio State in a few weeks. They cannot afford to drop this one. This is what they've been building up to. I'm going to go Nittany Lions 27 to what I put down here. 27-23 Penn State over Oregon.
We're all in the same vicinity as far as scores go, pretty tight. I think, like you talked about, Hunter, like it's a lot about Drew Allar, and both quarterbacks are in very unique positions. Like we haven't got to watch Drew Allar much, and he's got to carry his team to, victory obviously here, and Dante Moore in his first road start. So I think whoever comes out on top, there's going to be a really good narrative to the game itself. So I'm excited for this one. I'm kind of bummed out that I'm not going to be able to watch it. I'll have to watch it on Georgia's shitty stadium scoreboards they got that are never updated. So that'll be fun. Yeah.
Moving on, and Jake just foreshadowed it. Mr. Stinchcomb will be in the building at Sanford Stadium at 7:30 on Saturday night as the number 17th ranked Alabama Crimson Tide make the trip on east to Athens, Georgia to take on the 5th ranked Bulldogs, laying 3 points. The last time we saw these two teams, Georgia obviously one of the games of the year that we're going to look back and wow, what a football game that was against 2 really good football teams. Between Tennessee, get the win 44-41, I think was the final score in overtime. And then Alabama, everybody still talks about the abysmal loss to Florida State to start the year. Since then, they dropped 70 on ULM, and then they beat the dog breaks off of Wisconsin the following week. Both these teams coming off a bye. I don't ever do this when it comes to Georgia football, but I got to do it this time because I'm very interested to hear this. Jake, I'm going to let you lead us off.
I won't take up too much time because I want to hear y'all's thoughts on this. Interesting game as far as storylines go. Like with Georgia, it's the revenge spot from last year, the heartbreaker in Tuscaloosa. Came back from 28, ended up coming back and taking the lead, and then lose on a game-winning touchdown pass to Ryan Williams, who will be back in the building or back for this game too. So you got that for Georgia, and then Bama. It's kind of a must-win spot, right? Like they need this game. Florida State, that kind of set them behind schedule a little bit. This is their first SEC game for Bama. Georgia's got that big emotional win on the road against Tennessee to open SEC play. So 2 big storylines, 2 matchups I'm excited for. The first one is the Alabama passing attack, which just seems to have found its way since the Florida State win or loss. I know it hadn't been against crazy sorry guys. What's the word I'm looking for? Opponents. That's the word I'm looking for. But Ty Simpson has seemed to find his stride so far since Florida State lost. So that against the Georgia secondary, who kind of got exposed against Tennessee, if you will. They were a lot of time there was only a handful of busted coverages where guys are just running wide open, but a lot of those they were in position to make a play. They just didn't win the 50-50 matchup. So in this, like Alabama, they're going to make these downfield throws. They're going to try to get explosive plays on you. Is Georgia's secondary going to be able to, one, be in position, and two, make the play when you're there? It doesn't have to be a pick. Just tackling the guy at least rather than letting him catch it in a 50-50 ball and take off. So that's a big matchup that I'm looking at for me. Then for Georgia, like, what does the offense look like after Tennessee scored 44 points and proved that they can score and go neck and neck with you offensively? But is it Gunner? He played perfectly and down the stretch in that Tennessee game. Now he comes home. If it's not perfect for Gunner, what does the offense look like? You have to establish the run. I always talk about this with Georgia. Georgia is going to go as far as the run game takes them, as far as that offensive line takes them, and I need to see more. I think Alabama has a way better defensive front than Tennessee's got, so interested to see that. Another big thing, Jam Miller, Alabama running back, is back. He's been hurt for the past several weeks, so he's going to be back in the mix for Alabama this Saturday. Very interested to watch this. I'm going to be there. I'm a student. This is one of my last games ever as a student in Sanford. 7:30 kick, blacking it out. They announced they're giving out LED bracelets for fans for the fourth quarter lighting show, and assistant athletic director said that if you're in the building, you're going to be a part of the show on Saturday night. Oh my God, I live for this shit, y'all. I'm so pumped. I would never pick Alabama, but the unbiasedness in me says Alabama's the monkey on our back, and Alabama needs this one more than Georgia. I'm not going to be surprised if Alabama wins, but give me them dogs 23-20 in Sanford on Saturday night. Keep dropping us down in the AP poll. That's exactly what we want. Them dogs is hell, mother. What do y'all got?
Well, it looks like I got some work to do editing this episode. I think that this game's going to be more of a shootout. We saw it in Georgia's last game against Tennessee. They couldn't really defend the pass super well. I think that that's going to be a reoccurring theme this week with Ryan Williams coming back. They're going to be looking to get him involved. I think Georgia's offense has shown that they can do it. And to me, I think they're in a good spot. My biggest concern is with the offensive line. Can they give Gunner enough time to sit in the pocket and deliver the ball? Can they get the run game established? That being said, Alabama's hasn't looked great either. So I think this game is going to be won in the trenches, and that's what it's going to come down to. The trenches and Georgia's pass defense. I think that they Kirby's the best coach in football. Let's be real. I think that they're going to get it done. I've got it a little bit higher scoring, kind of similar to the Tennessee game. I've got Georgia 38-31.
What team y'all want me to start with first?
The Tide.
Got it. So for Alabama, guys, Ty Simpson's been, 22 of 26 in his last two starts. Now, granted, ULM, Wisconsin, even though I think Wisconsin's rush defense is pretty solid, but we're talking about passing the ball here. So, but granted, he is very efficient. He's very accurate when he has time to throw. The first point I have written down about Alabama is their offensive line has looked iffy, especially in that Florida State game. They did both sides of the ball, to be quite frank. They have a lot to prove this Saturday. Like, can they nut up? This is a big nut up game for the Alabama offensive line. The second point I have written down is Alabama has lost 4 straight games on the road dating back to last year between Vanderbilt, Tennessee, Oklahoma, and then the start this year, Florida State. But what it comes down to for the Bama offense for me is that they have to be balanced. They have to be able to run the ball very efficiently, and that might help with Jam Miller coming back. Will he be, ready to go 100%, like just the same old Jam Miller that we were used to last year? I don't know. It's very intriguing to see. If they're going to be balanced and that offensive line gives Ty Simpson time, it's going to be a long day for Georgia. Just going to throw that out there. Because Bama has the wide receivers and they can run down the field. And if they can run the ball efficiently and set up the pass, it could get ugly in Athens. With that being said, Alabama they are also 91st in penalties this year. I don't know if this stat is still true. So through Kalen DeBoer's, all the way through the Florida State game, so dating back to last year through the Florida State game this past year, there was not a single time that Alabama had less penalty yards than their opponents. It's pretty bad when you're going on the road. You've already lost 4 straight on the road. The last thing I got to say is Bama can embarrass UGA if they can run it and protect the quarterback. I think Bama still has a really good pass rush. And if they are not loafing and showing the effort or not showing effort like they were against Florida State, this can be a very competitive ball game. But with that being said, the Bama defense tends to have a hard time with the QB run. So very interested to see what Gunnar Stockton's legs have to say about that. On the flip side of that, University of Georgia, 33 straight home wins. Last time they lost was 2019 against South Carolina. I was in the building for that one. Not a fun day. This is a manhood game for UGA. Are they being doubted again? Because, I don't think they were really doubted. There was a good amount of people, they're like, oh, yeah, Georgia will go into Alabama and win. Milroe, inconsistent. Their best player is a freshman receiver. Yeah, Georgia's got Carson Beck, who at the time was the Heisman favorite. Everybody was on him. So I wouldn't really say they were doubted last year going into Alabama. But are they doubted going into this game? Because what's the stats I have pulled up here on the Instagram post I saw today? Please give me a second here. So Kirby Smart is 107-13 against everybody else not named Alabama. He is 1-6 against Alabama. Georgia is 1-9 against Alabama in their last 10 games. The last time Georgia beat Alabama in Athens was 2003. I was a few months old. Jake, so were you. Tyler, I don't know what year you were born, but I don't even think you were a year old yet. Very interesting stuff right there. I think the last time Georgia lost a home game or a night game in general, maybe a night game at home, I can't remember, but it was like 7:30 kicker later, was in 2009 against Alabama. There's just so much irony in this. Like it really is the monkey Georgia cannot get off their back. So are they doubted? And what I mean by that is last year when they were rolling into Austin, Texas, they were doubted. Like nobody thought they had a chance to go in there and beat the Longhorns last year, and they put belt to bottom. I mean, belt meets leather meets ass right there on the spot in Austin, Texas last year. And so when Georgia is doubted, you get those types of outcomes. So I'm very curious to see, does Kirby Smart have those boys in the mindset of y'all are doubted? With that being said, I think Georgia's defense might have been a little overhyped. Now, granted, they played Tennessee. Tennessee gets the ball out quick. They hit explosive plays, so this might just be an X factor. I don't know. 62nd in pressure rate and 115th in sacks. They are not getting home to the quarterback. And if they're not getting home to the quarterback, and Ty Simpson, like I said, if he is protected and has time to throw, he can dice you up. So they got to get home. The secondary does not look well. Once again, is this a byproduct of playing Tennessee? And it all starts up front with the guys getting home. With that being said, I said Alabama's 91st in penalties. Georgia's 4th in penalties. They went on the road to the loudest environment in college football, Neyland Stadium, and did not have a single false start. I think that plays pretty true in this game. So Will they have a defiant effort to win this game? How will the offensive line look for the University of Georgia? It came out a little bit before we started filming this episode that Ernest Green is very doubtful to play in this game. So that right side of the offensive line is a huge question mark. And I think Bama has a good pass rush. And if they're getting home to Gunnar Stockton and he's not getting the ball out quick, it's not setting up well in that aspect of the game. And like I said, Bama does struggle against quarterback run, so Georgia has to incorporate it. You could go either way on this one, right? In the preseason, I picked Alabama. I said Georgia's going to have to prove it to me, but Bama sucks on the road. They're penalized all the time. Georgia's just whenever they're doubted, they show up in these spots. I'm going to go 31-28, and y'all can just check the picks page on the Instagram on Friday because I don't know which way I'm rolling with this one yet. I really don't. Like, I don't know. I'm not even going to have Jake Stinchcomb call a coin flip in the air because this is like prime. Like the way I see it is the last time everybody saw Georgia, was against Tennessee. Oh my gosh, Georgia this. They're raving about them. The last time like everybody truly had eyes on Alabama, not the Wisconsin game, but like the last time everybody truly had eyes on Alabama, it's like, oh, they suck. Like they already wrote Bama off after week 1, and that's never a good thing to do. Like thank God Georgia had a bye week in between Tennessee and Alabama, or else this would be the easiest pick in the world for me. I'd pick Alabama. But I truly don't know. So another reason to go follow us on Instagram. Which team am I rolling with on Saturday? The Dogs or the Tide?
Good stuff. Talking about Ty Simpson and the passing attack a little bit more. If I'm Kalen DeBoer going into this game, and I know like you're going on the road and you don't want to let it get out of hand or do anything out of character, I would say. But if I'm them and I watch that Tennessee film, I'm going into Georgia Saturday night. And if I win the toss, I want the ball and tempo straight down the field, like fast, just like Tennessee did. That's just me. What are your thoughts on that, Hunter, Kyle? Either one. I just think like if I was them, that's what would be the game plan for me. Is like we're going to come out fast, the same way Tennessee did, and get the crowd out of the game very quick. It's going to be loud. Try to go up 7-0 early. Like I wouldn't be slow. I would come out fast, quick start. Let's get down the field and hurry. That's just me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate that take, Jake, especially when you got Ryan Williams who like owned the Georgia secondary last year, right? But he's not even their number one receiver, is it? Bernard, right? Jeremy Bernard. Yeah, so he's their best receiver. And I like your thought process, right? And I want Tyler to follow this up because he's actually played college football, the three of us here. But like, if that's not your style, that's not your style. Like just because another team was able to get the ball out in 2.8 seconds and go no huddle for an entire game doesn't mean Alabama's going to be able to do that. I know you said maybe they'll be able to do it the first drive, but like if that's not your what I don't know, tempo, if that's not like how you play football, if that's not your brand, your style of football, and that's not what those boys are used to, it might not be good to like just try and throw it at them. But Tyler, I could be completely wrong on that, so that's why I'm very curious to see what you have to say.
I think that I agree with you, Hunter. I think if you're used to, a lot of teams that already have their mind made up way before in advance, like preseason in college, we would have a meeting with like all of the seniors who were going to be captains, and they would always tell us, "Hey, we want the ball. No matter what the toss says, you go ahead and tell the ref we want the ball." We were a team that liked to start with the ball, but teams are just like that. If that's how you've done it for a long time and that's the identity that you've established, and that's your identity. I think that if you are used to sending your defense out there on the field to make a stop first to get your offense ready, then that's probably what you're going to do because that's what you're used to. I do think that if they were to get the ball and shut the crowd out of it quickly, I think it would benefit them. But I don't think that just because they saw Tennessee do it, they're going to go out and do it. I don't think that quite is what they want to do because they don't want to go away from their identity. And you see that all over football. Teams have an established identity and they don't want to go away from it.
Well, agreed, 100%. And another like counterpoint, I guess, to make is Ty Simpson's first road start. Look how that panned out. It just didn't pan out well. He was thinking a lot. Like, obviously, it's his first road start. Now he's going on the road in an even tougher environment. Let's get it. Let's get his mind's going to be racing. Just get him going quick. Don't let him think because we're going too damn fast. That's kind of my point. Aside from just the fact that Tennessee did it well. Young quarterback going on the road. Don't let him think too much. Just go. So, but enough on that one. If y'all got anything else, I'm good on that one. Go Dogs, baby.
Moving on to the most underrated game of the week outside of those other two, I think this game is just it's beautiful. This is a rivalry game for those who don't know. And for those listening on podcast and you have no idea what I'm talking about right now, this is the 4th ranked Louisiana State Tigers, also known as LSU, traveling on the road to Oxford, Mississippi to take on the Ole Miss Rebels. And the Rebels, Ole Miss laying favored by 1.5 against the 4th ranked LSU Tigers behind what some would say a backup quarterback, ? Nah, Chaz Chambliss is the real deal, dog. So, Tyler, you and Jake both picked LSU to be in y'all's playoff. You picked them to be in the SEC championship. Both very high on LSU. Something I kind of regret is I kind of took them for granted, but maybe my take will still pay out. I said they were not going to make the playoff this year. We'll see. This is one of those games that you got to win if you want to make the SEC championship, right? So Brian Kelly, Lane Kiffin, polar opposites. It don't get too much better than this. Whit Weeks and Landry Kiffin going at it on the Instagram page. Like, we're not deep diving into that, but it's just like this game carries so much to it, right? Backup quarterback versus preseason Heisman favorite. I love it. And Ole Miss, with all that, favored by 1.5, pretty much a pick 'em, favored on the home field. You two, Tyler, I'll let you go first. What you think about this one?
Man, Trinidad Chambliss, shout out to that guy. D2 football product, went to Ferris State last year, won a national title with those guys. I love that kind of story, D3 guy myself. So I really like this story with Trinidad Chambliss. I think that he's a good football player, and it shows that there's talent all over the country. And shout out my Sarah College boys up in Kentucky. You guys are going to turn it around. I feel it. Anyways, moving on from that. I think LSU, this is another game where they just have something to prove because right now that Clemson win doesn't look that great. So it's another moment for them to say, all right, yeah, Clemson sucks now, but we're the real freaking deal. Last week you have an easy game last week where, unfortunately, Whit Weeks got ejected for targeting. That just gave him a little bit more of a rest period to get him ready to play his father-in-law's team. So I think that LSU is going to come out swinging. I think they're going to be ready to go, especially because they had a weaker opponent last week. Who they play? Southeast Louisiana or something like that? Whoever the hell it was. They kind of got to open up the playbook a little bit, see what they liked and what they didn't like, experiment with some things. That's what you do in that kind of game. And I think they're going to be ready to go. Ole Miss is playing with the backup quarterback. Trinidad Chambliss, like I said, I love him. I think he's a good football player. Love his story. However, this is Ole Miss. And, this is the SEC. You're playing LSU, and they have a great defense. So I think at the end of the night, Whit Weeks is going to walk up to old Lane Kiffin and say, you're not the only one she calls daddy, buddy. And a guy got LSU winning by 2 scores. Don't care what the exact number is. 2 scores, LSU wins.
I think this game, me personally, comes down to defensive side of the ball for both teams. Both of these programs are known, especially in the past few years, for not playing great defense. LSU has improved that. Ole Miss, to be determined, I guess. Both, I guess you could say, have played serviceable defense in the first 4 weeks. LSU has yet to give up more than 10. Really the only 2 notable opponents, I guess you could say, depends on what you call notable. Florida and Clemson gave up 10, but both times to them. And then Ole Miss gave up 10 to Tulane, 35 to Arkansas. Arkansas, great offense. They can score. 23 to Kentucky and 7 to Georgia State in week 1. Which defense breaks first? I think whoever whatever that yields will be the loser of the game. That's me personally. LSU, I think I talk about it every time I bring up LSU. They got to get a ground game going. They rank 112th nationally on the ground as far as rush attack goes. We've yet to see it with Caden Durham, and I think that's a big factor going into this one, going on the road to Oxford this weekend. And then Trinidad Chambliss has panned out great so far. When I had Ole Miss in the playoff, and when I saw that Austin Simmons went down or got benched, either one, I was like, oh, shit, it's about to be a fire show up there. And turns out it hadn't been. He's been great, completing almost 68% of his passes, facing probably the best defense he's seen so far in the biggest game of his career, or at least SEC career. Two, I love how Hunt brought up completely polar opposite coaches. Like, this is the greatest matchup. And then when you see these two teams next to each other playing against each other, you know we're in for a good game. This is going to be excitement. And I think it's going to be the most exciting game of the day. I really do. Everybody's talking about Georgia and Bama, and then Penn State and Oregon. And to me, that's like, those are four swinging dicks just going at it, right? We know that regardless of what happens, they're all going to be just forces. But these two teams right here, they're trying to get to the mountaintop. Like, whoever comes out on top of this one, they are the swinging dick. You know what I mean? I'm excited for this one. I'm going full of coin flips this week. I had LSU in the playoff, but I'm going to go with Ole Miss. 31-26 Rebs.
I was not expecting that. I don't have a lot of deep dive notes into this one due to lack of time for preparation. What I will say is this. LSU's offensive line is starting to look more and more sketch every week, in my opinion, especially being able to run the ball. I'm pretty sure they rank in the 110s as far as running efficiency. And that would be great against this Ole Miss defense, except, well, they're actually good at stopping the run. This is just like the one, this is like the one game where it's the matchup just doesn't favor LSU, because it's like, oh yeah, well, they might not be able to run the ball, but like, oh, we can just beat them with a throw. But in this matchup, I don't think it pans out. I think I just said that totally ass backwards. The point I'm trying to get to. The point I'm trying to get to here is the fact that LSU can't run the ball. It does not play a factor, or it does play a factor into this game. Like, it's not going to give them an advantage into this game. That's what I'm trying to say, is that LSU, trying to get their run game together against a bad Ole Miss defense, it's not going to be an advantage because they can't run the ball efficiently. That's the point I'm trying to get to. I said that completely backwards originally. Sorry, long day. Anyways, Trinidad Chambliss. You guys already hit on him. Jake, you say he's completed upwards of 60% of his passes. He's got some wheels. He's got some legs on him where he can be a dual threat. I think Lacey has been a really good running back for Ole Miss this year. He's rushed for 358, and I know a lot of that was against Tulane last week, or not a lot of it, but a decent chunk of it against Tulane, who is struggling on the defensive side of the ball. But I also know that Ole Miss has like 3 receivers with over 135 yards receiving this year. I think that's pretty solid. So very interested to see. But Tyler, you brought up a good point. LSU has a really good defense. This is the first time that like LSU has a complementary defense to their offense. I know Garrett Nussmeier's been hurt a little bit this year playing quarterback. The 2 picks he's thrown this year, you've been like, yeah, that's the Nussmeier. I know. We thought he'd cut down on him, and I guess the number, quote unquote, has cut down. He's not averaging 1 per game, but he still has that tendency to try and force some things. Man, this one's just a vibes pick. I am rolling with the Rebs in this game. I got Ole Miss 34-30. I'm not sniffing what LSU's selling, especially on the run game and on the offensive line. And I favor Lane Kiffin in this matchup at home. I think Ole Miss wins by 4.
I like it. This is just a coin flip. Very excited to watch it. I think we're in for. I think it's going to be the game of the week. I really do. I don't know why. It just sniffs it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Moving on to our quick hitters of the week, which we could probably deep dive into all 4 of these games on here. So loaded. But very interested. Obviously, I was not here for the recording of the Auburn-Oklahoma recap that you guys just did. So I'm very curious to hear what you guys had to say about that. And obviously, I'm going to go back and listen. So I think I'll be able to kind of infer it. Jake, tell me what – I know you're high on the Aggies of Texas A&M. So sorry for those listening on podcast. Auburn is traveling to Texas A&M, back-to-back road spots for the Tigers. A&M off a bye after their big win against Notre Dame, a much-needed bye because this would be a letdown spot in my opinion. So, Jake, what are your early thoughts and what's your prediction on this game?
Yeah, Hunt, as far as like what I thought about Auburn, I thought that they were the better team and probably should have won on Saturday against Oklahoma. You had the refs thing and then a few special teams mix-ups that kind of screwed them. But I do think, me and Tyler talked about this, that somebody said it on an unnecessary roughness, that they are a 10 or 11 win team if they have a quarterback with a pulse. Jackson Arnold just doesn't have it as a thrower. He can run the ball well. He can extend the play well with his legs, but I don't think he has it there as a thrower. As far as this game goes, Texas A&M, we've seen their defense can get got. It's like Notre Dame 2 weeks ago, coming off a bye at home. I think Texas A&M has the better offense overall. I think they have the better coach. As far as defense goes, Auburn's got them there. Auburn has a legit defense, but it's got to travel for one. It did travel last week, but back-to-back road spots for Auburn. It's almost kind of like they got to have this one, but A&M coming off a bye. I'm really high on the Aggies. Very high on the over here. I would very curious to know the total. I haven't even looked at it. But I got the Aggies here, 41-35.
Yeah, I think like Jake was kind of saying, we touched on Auburn in the preview or in the recap a little bit. They've got to establish that pass game, and I think that it's there, but we're not getting to it. This is for Auburn, excuse me. I think that there's a shot that they can win this game. However, Texas A&M has looked really good, and I don't know how you slow down that offense. Not a big fan of Marcel Reed, but I got to give credit where credit's due. He's looked good this year so far. I've got Texas A&M winning this one. Lower scoring, I think it's going to be a 28-21 game, 28-17 game.
Yeah, I like it, Tyler. So my thoughts on this one. So what I watched from Jackson Arnold, man, is I know he got sacked 10 times, and that's very easy to just look on the offensive line. And yes, some of those were on the offensive line, but there was also like a good chunk of those that were on him holding on to the ball too long because he couldn't make up his mind. He would get – if his first read wasn't there, he pissed down his leg. He didn't know where to go with the ball, right? Screw it, Cam Coleman somewhere down there. And I think they realized that, and I think everybody knows based off what we've seen from Oklahoma and Texas A&M, Oklahoma has a better defense than Texas A&M, right? So maybe Jackson Arnold's like, wow, okay, maybe I can go to Cam more than I thought, hit some more of those explosive plays. They got to get the ball in his hands. They got to force feed him. I think this one's going to be higher scoring because, I mean, is Auburn's offense much worse than Notre Dame's, right? Like, I don't think it is. I really don't because Notre Dame was able to establish a good run game with 2 backs and got the ball out quick on some dump off passes. Who's to say Jackson Arnold can't do the same in this game? Marcel Reed at A&M, they rely on the explosives a lot. And don't get me wrong, Mario Craver is a dog. He has the most receiving yards in the country. This is why you enter the transfer portal, folks. You leave Mississippi State, go to Texas A&M, and change your entire career. This is what it's about. It's not about chasing a bag. It's not about chasing a bag all the time. And then obviously you got Casey Concepcion, who's also lightning in a bottle. I don't know how I necessarily feel about the A&M defense. They did give up 41 to Notre Dame, so I do think this is going to be a little bit more higher scoring. As far as Auburn goes, guys, you guys hit it well with they are a 10 to 11 win roster. Their quarterback's got to improve. With that said, like I don't think Auburn is bad at all. Like I think Auburn's probably a top 20 team, top 15 team in the country. I really do. And they do have a liability at quarterback right now, at least. And I think even with that liability at quarterback, with his legs, and if you can get the ball to Cam Coleman and then even Eric Singleton on some dump off routes, get the ball out quick, that they're going to be in every single game they play this year. Like they're not totally outmatched by anybody. On a neutral field, this spread's a field goal. They're going to give them 3 at A&M. Dude, I want to pick Auburn in this game, but they're going to have to prove it to me. I think this one comes down to the wire. I got A&M 30-28. So they win on a late field goal. That's what I got.
I think it's offensive for offensive blows throughout the game. Just both teams are just stacked at the wide receiver position. Both teams have quarterbacks who can break one at any time. My sniff, which Tyler's not in it yet, but am I sniffing like a podcast 129 play of the week, sweat the over in Auburn A&M? Who says no?
I'm in.
What's the number? Can we get a number check?
Yeah, I got you. Give me a second here.
I'm going to guess 48.5. That's my call.
52.5.
Ooh, even better.
Yeah.
Points, baby. Points.
I'll take that. Moving on to what really is an underrated game this week. Not a lot of eyes, I think, are going to be on it. This was an under-the-radar game for me in the preseason. If you listen to our Big Ten preview, the USC Trojans, Southern Cal. Yes, the same Southern Cal that had Reggie Bush and Caleb Williams and Matt Leinart and Pete Carroll. Yeah, that same Southern Cal that really hasn't done a whole lot since the early 2000s is making the trip 2 time zones over. Yeah, Illinois Central Time. 2 time zones over to Champaign, Illinois. Couldn't tell you one thing about the city of Champaign, Illinois, except that the university's held there. Very intriguing game. I know Illinois just got blew out 63-7. That is not going to be a constant with this team. I refuse to believe it. Now, I know that they have 4 to 6 guys on the defensive backs that are out, or some of them questionable, but it's not looking good health-wise on the back end for the Illini. Whereas, guys, USC's just they're just doing their own thing. They've just been blowing guys out, and they've just been putting up numbers on offense, and the defense, you could tell, is getting a little bit better. This is going to sound really crazy because I know Purdue is trash, but going on the road to Purdue, 2 time zones over on a late-night game, and playing big physical football up front, which is something that they struggled with the likes of Maryland and Minnesota last year. And I think Purdue's better than they were last year, but the point I'm trying to make here is they're playing not bad defense. Danton Lynn's got them playing a little bit more physical and a little bit better this year too. And they're just, minding their own business. Oh, you can rank us 24th, whatever. We're just going to keep doing stuff. Guys, Jaden Mayav has already passed for 1,200 yards. 9 touchdowns, 0 picks. They have Makai Lemon has 3 touchdowns. He has 438 receiving yards. You got Jacoby Lane over there. They're playing really good football at Southern Cal, and nobody's really talking about them. Whereas Illinois, on the flip side, was this team coming in with all the preseason hype, ranked in the top 10. They finally had their first test, and you want to talk about belt meets bottom. Ooh, I cannot wait to hear what you guys had to say about that game. Even though it probably was a little quick because I know both of y'all were on that Illinois money line. Besides the point, I think this game is very intriguing because I don't see Illinois getting blown out 63-7. But USC's good. They kind of remind me a little bit about Auburn. Their defense is probably a little bit liable, right? But that's a 9-10 win roster team as far as talent goes. And Lincoln Riley, all he did at Oklahoma was make the playoff. Now, he never won a playoff game, but he can coach. People forget that sometimes. So, very intriguing game. I think with the lack of health and depth that Illinois has on the defensive end, are on the backside of that defense. And with the way and efficiency that Jaden Mayava has been playing with, guys, it's hard for me not to pick Southern Cal in this game. They've already established that they've been traveling different when they make the, from West Coast to the middle of the country or coast to coast travel. Like they've already done it once. They're going through different procedures with it, taking it a little bit more serious on how they're doing it, not just like a normal travel spot. And I really like the Trojans this year. They are an under the radar team, and they're just going to keep winning football games. I like the Trojans 35-28. And I don't even know. Well, 35-28 USC. That's what I got.
Very interesting, like you said, Hunter. I think that it's statement game potential for both teams. For Illinois, the statement would be, hey, like last week was a fluke. It would be a home win, but there's a touchdown dogs at home here. So winning this one manageable, like managing the game, winning statement for them. USC would move to 4-0, prove they can travel 2 time zones across the country, and would probably jump sky high through the rankings. Interested to watch USC. I'll be completely transparent here. I have not watched a lot of them, have kept up with them. That offense is rolling. I think for Illinois, they're a team I was very high on coming into the year. They did it against Duke. They scored a lot of points. In the Indiana game, they got blew out. In order to win that, they had to be in a shootout. I think the key for them this week is getting back to the Brett Bielema identity of winning a low-score game, playing the long game, long drives, playing sound football on defense and special teams. I got Illinois winning this one. I think they bounce back. I'm not done with them yet. Give me Fighting Illini 20-17 in a low-scoring affair on Saturday.
So I also like this matchup. I think that both teams have something to prove here. USC proving that they are relevant again, and Illinois proving that they are not irrelevant. And so I'm going to call this one the battle of relevancy. And I think that USC has an advantage in this game, even though they are traveling on the road. I just think that their offense has been on a roll. It's easier to continue on a roll than it is to bounce back from that god-awful performance that we saw last week from the Fighting Illini. So I'm going to take USC to get the win. I'll go a little bit higher scoring than Jake did. I'm going to go, let's go with 34-24.
Good stuff. I do want to we're going to section this off right here. I never got to have my moment of sadness when the John Mateer news broke, when you guys did your recap the other day. So I'd like to take the time to do that. My man, my superhero, my guy who I was going to have a childhood poster on the wall is going to be the next decoration back here, Mr. Moneyline Mateer. He's out, and he's going to be out for at least a month, 3 to 5 weeks. He's going to miss the Texas game. He's probably going to miss the South Carolina game. Not good, guys. And the point I'm trying to get to here is, yes, I'm having my moment of sadness because my Oklahoma playoff ticket, my Oklahoma John Mateer Heisman Trophy ticket that I have, it's as good as gone. With all that being said, Hunt's going to have a new Heisman nuke. I'm going to drop a ticket on somebody after this weekend, and I got 5 names. We've talked about all 5 quarterbacks already, so I would just like this to be known on the podcast so you guys can hold me to my word here, and then I can come on next week and announce it. There's 5 names I wrote down today when I was looking at these matchups. Number 1, Jaden Mayava, quarterback at USC. Lincoln Riley, he produces Heisman Trophy winners. There's no way around it. This guy's been really efficient, and I think he might have the numbers at the end of the year. We'll see. Number 2, Gunnar Stockton at the University of Georgia. If Georgia wins this game, bro, and he throws for another 300, it's happening. I'm just going to have to – I can't believe – I never thought I'd see a Georgia player win the Heisman Trophy, but, I will actually start believing it once. And he's going to be in all the primetime big games for all eyes to be on him. So that's quarterback number 2 I have. Quarterback number 3, Ty Simpson at Alabama. If he wins this game, he's going to have the numbers, I think, throughout the year, proving the fact that Alabama don't write him off yet, and that he's got the weapons and he's going to be on the primetime slot. So the winner of that game, if that quarterback plays well, to be on the lookout for. Number 4, Dante Moore at Oregon. So if he goes on the road to Penn State and wins, and he does it throwing for 250 or 300, and he just looks like a baller out there on the road, it'd be pretty hard not to put him at the top of the list. And then the last one is my wild card. Chaz Chambliss, quarterback at Ole Miss. If he beats LSU this week, Ole Miss is going to be a top 10 team. They're going to be a team to be watching all year. Lane Kiffin, he has done everything with the quarterback except win a Heisman Trophy. So, and he can do it with his legs and his arms. So 5 quarterbacks to watch out for. I'll have my decision made by the time we record the week 5 recap. Moving on, I just wanted you guys to know that. I know that was really off topic, but I needed to have my John Mateer moment on here. Moving on, so we have the Notre Dame Fighting Irish traveling to Arkansas for the first time ever. First time these two teams have ever played each other. And Notre Dame, last time we saw them, I guess they played last week. They beat Purdue. They got their first one of the year last week against Purdue, dropped 50. But the last not meaningful, Purdue, I don't want to throw shade on you. I just bragged about you when we were talking about USC. But the last time they played a SEC or God dang it, the biggest game that they've played since Purdue was Texas A&M. That's the point I'm trying to get to. That's the last time they were on national television. All eyes were on them, and they got belt put the bottom on the defensive side of the ball. Taylor Green's legit, guys. He is literally carrying this Arkansas team on his back. And the last time we saw the Razorbacks, well, Jake knows this. We can sprinkle a little bit on that Memphis Tiger money line because they lost to Memphis. And I said when we were going over our best bets last week, I said this is a terrible spot for Arkansas. They just got off a one-possession game where they fumbled to lose it against Ole Miss on the road. And then next week, they got to host Notre Dame. And in between that, you just got to travel to little old Memphis. But I think this Arkansas offense is still really good. Very interested to see where you guys' heads are on this. As far as the line goes, this line it opened up at 6.5 this week. It has gotten as low as 4. It is back up to 4.5 in the favor of the Fighting Irish. Jake.
This game's fun for me and interesting because as with all of the stacked games with playoff implications and ranking implications on Saturday, all the big dogs are playing. This game is fun because it's two teams where there's not that playoff implications on the line. Let's be real with it. Yes, Notre Dame needs to win out, and 10-2 could get them in the playoff. Arkansas, we all know they're not going to be a playoff team. But Taylor Green is one of the most exciting and fun players to watch, and it's like you said, Hunter, carrying that offense right now. And we've seen that Arkansas's defense is not the greatest, and Notre Dame, their defense is not as good as we thought it was, and it's not as good as last year's defense. So I think that this is another over game. I think there's a lot of points. I think it's very exciting. It's just like stress-free football. That's what I wanted to say off the point of like the playoff implications thing. It's just stress-free. It's fun. Two of the most exciting players to watch. We're going to be able to watch on every snap. Jeremiah Love, Taylor Green. Very exciting. I got Arkansas here. Don't count Sam Pittman out, man. Give me the Razorbacks, 45-38 in a thriller on Saturday afternoon.
Personally, I can't imagine a world where we are at week 4, week 5, and Notre Dame doesn't have a win. Is that no? Wait, who did they play last weekend?
Purdue, and they won.
Okay.
Yeah, no, sorry guys. I made these slides like on Saturday night, Sunday morning, so not everything was updated on the ESPN website. So if you can read that tiny writing with the record, I apologize. Notre Dame is 1-2 and Arkansas is 2-2. So Tyler, I apologize.
Excuse me. I was mistaken. That kind of throws me off my train track.
Yeah, I apologize.
you're good. Not your fault. I do appreciate you getting the slides done and ready for us. They look beautiful. Regardless, I don't see a world where Notre Dame can lose this game. Arkansas is coming off of that heartbreaking loss to Memphis where they literally fumbled the game away. Yeah, that sucked. And if you're an SEC team, you can't lose to a team like Memphis. I'm sorry, it can't happen. That's really embarrassing. And yeah, so I think that Arkansas is – Taylor Green's great, but even though Notre Dame's defense hasn't looked as good as it has in the past, I still think their front is going to give the Arkansas offensive line hell. I've got Notre Dame winning this game. It's going to be closer than, I probably made it out to be that I sounded like I was going to predict. I'll go 27-24 Notre Dame.
Yeah, guys. So Taylor Green leads Arkansas in both rushing and throwing. Obviously, he's going to lead the team in passing yards, but he leads them in rushing as well. Do people forget the Notre Dame's defense looked like hot trash this year? Because they have not looked good in either game that they played. Now, don't get me wrong. That Miami game, Miami's lines of scrimmage are really good. But then Marshall Reed only completed 50% of his passes, but they gave up a lot of explosive plays. Arkansas can generate a lot of explosive plays, and their defense is also trash. I don't see 2 weeks in a row – this would be the third week in a row where Arkansas fumbles the ball in their final offensive possession to blow a game. So that's really what's kept them from being 4-1, or what, is that correct? 3-1 and not 2-2. So, or heck, 4-0. 4-0. That's what I'm trying to say. Because they were driving on that last possession against Ole Miss and fumbled the ball away. You cannot convince me they were not going to punch one in and take the lead there at the end. Regardless, I think this is points. Points, and I'm freaking here for it. I love a good points game. I'm pretty sure this game's at noon. It's a great way to start the day. We got USC, Illinois, and Notre Dame, Arkansas. I think CJ Carr is going to get his. I think Jeremiah Love and Price? Yeah, Price is going to get his, the other running back in Notre Dame. But I think Taylor Green's going to get his. I think Sam Pittman's going to get one that nobody's expecting. I'm also rolling with the Razorbacks in this one. This is the one they were preparing for last week too, and Notre Dame's got to prove it to me on the road. I think they're going to be calling the Hogs nice and loud in Fayetteville on Saturday. 34-31, Woo Pig Suey Razorbacks.
Exciting stuff. Tyler, who did you pick?
Notre Dame.
Okay, so we're not all on the same. That's good. That's good. Yeah, I'm excited for this one. Points, baby. Another game with just points. I want to see points.
Absolutely. And then the final game. Oh, man. God. Oh, Jake and I put a lot of eggs in our baskets on this single game in the preseason. And if you are not watching on YouTube, I'm sitting here almost panicking just looking at this game because I want Washington to win this game so bad. Ohio State is traveling on the road for the first time all year. They've been playing they played the first month of games just about all in Columbus. And they played Texas, and then they played Grambling, and then they played Ohio. And there might have been somebody else in there. No, I can't remember. Regardless, they're traveling all the way to Seattle. 3-hour time difference. Ohio, I'm pretty sure that's Eastern time, so that's a 3-hour time difference to Seattle. And I know we hit on it at the beginning of this show when we were talking about Georgia, Alabama. Georgia has a 33-game home win streak, hasn't lost since 2019. Washington second. They're up in the 20s. I can't remember the exact number. I can't remember if it's mid to high 20s, though, on the amount of home games that they've won consecutively, which is just not easy to do in college football, especially like Washington. Washington is also a top 4 loudest place to play according to 2024 stats behind Neyland Stadium and Beaver Stadium in Penn State. So I don't know, man. Like everybody, here's my thing, guys. I was all in on like the Huskies and them going on. They're going to get the win. Like I was all about it. And the line opened up at 9.5. And I was like, okay, that's a solid number. And that thing got as low as 7.5 yesterday. It's finally making its way back up towards the 8. But that just sketches me out that a lot of people like Washington this week. We've seen young quarterbacks go on the road and struggle. It's been like a constant theme this year, right? We've seen it with multiple guys. Julian saying this is his first time going on the road as a starting quarterback. Going to be very interesting in a hostile environment. The last time Washington beat a number one team at home was Miami. And I think Miami ended up winning the national championship that year. It was like 2001, 2002. And the reason, it's crazy because one of the players came out and spoke this week. They said the only reason we won that game against Miami was because they had a freshman quarterback. Well, Julian's saying might as well be a freshman quarterback. He's a redshirt freshman. So I don't know, guys. Like my biggest question mark with Washington is their defense. My gosh, it has been so sketch. They run so much man. I'm sorry. You are not going to be able to man up Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith. You're just not going to be able to do it. Like I was watching Washington versus Washington State last Saturday. And hey, all respect to the people who try to run man consistently. And sometimes it works. Like LSU did it on Clemson. Georgia tried it on Tennessee and it didn't work. And when you got a few white guys running around back there, like they're just not going to be able to catch up with some of these athletes that Ohio State has. Brian Walters, good defensive coordinator, was the head coach at Purdue last year. Jed Fish, year 2. Everybody's talking about the offense. I know I'm kind of dragging this on, so before I go into my score prediction and talk more about Damon Williams and Jonah Coleman and Denzel Boston, Jake, you were on this one with me in the preseason. I need to know your early thoughts.
Yeah, I'm very excited to watch Washington play somebody, just the biggest spotlight game you could ask for. Like if there's a week and an opponent you're going to do it against, you're going to come out against. And I texted Hunter earlier this week. I said we made it to the coming out party for Washington. Like this is it. Excuse me. I don't know unbiasedly if I'm ready to pull the trigger on Washington yet. I think Ohio State's defense is legit, and like Hunter said, Washington plays a lot of man, and you're just not going to be able to man up Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith. Go ahead, Hunt.
This is something that I've thought about over the past few days. You just said Ohio State's defense is legit. Who's the best offense they played? Is it Ohio?
Yeah, exactly.
Is it Ohio or is it Texas? On paper, it's Texas. Ohio
at that point in the season, probably Ohio.
And Ohio dropped 29 on them against their starters, not the backups, but the starters. So just because Ohio State held Texas to 7 points at home, and we had a lot of questions about Ohio State's defense going into the season, right? They replaced, 9 of 11 starters outside of Caleb Downs and I think Sonny Styles. So there were a lot of question marks. We're like, gosh, there's going to be some holes. Well, who's to say that the holes still aren't there and just nobody's exposed them yet? That's just something I thought about this week. So continue with your point.
Yeah. I don't even know where I was at. I think Washington's able to score here. I really do. Just because I don't think Ohio State's seen a offense as dynamic as this one. I do have concerns with Washington's offensive line. Big time with Ohio State's front seven. But we'll see. Ohio State's traveling across the country. I'm not pulling the trigger yet with Hunter. I probably will on Saturday. Unbiasedly, this is my unbiased score prediction. I got the Buckeyes winning 34-28. I think it's closer. I think that Washington keeps it within the number, and it's going to be an exciting one. So, yeah, that's what I got.
Let's slow down on this Washington train. All right, Ohio State's a good freaking football team. They're a solid team all around. I think they have their way with Washington. I'm not going to dive too deep into this because I don't feel like I really need to. I feel like you guys have hit just about every point that I want to hit, except I'm on the opposite side completely. I think Ohio State absolutely dominates this game. I've got them winning. I'll go 38-21.
All right. Yeah. So I talked a lot about the defense. Defense full of question marks. Run a lot of man. They've given up a lot of points, and I'm very concerned about that. Right. But they are at home. Big travel spot for Ohio State. 3 hours. I don't know if I really want to bank the entire game on that. But my man Damon Williams, I said it in the first episode we did this year. This is the guy you got to watch out for. If you haven't, please go back and just watch any Washington highlight tape that is on from their first 3 games this year, because this little dude moves fast and he's got a really good arm with a lot of velocity. He's 778 through the air, 50 of 68, 6 touchdowns. I'm pretty sure he's top 5 in completion percentage and passing efficiency. You got a big man in Denzel Boston who has 3 touchdowns, like a one-on-one merchant. So very intrigued to see that, because he reminds me a lot of what Roma Dunze was at Washington 2 years ago. And then you have Jonah Coleman, who has like 99 break tackle. He has 347 yards rushing, and he is a stud. He gets a lot of yards after contact. They got a big 3. Their offensive line has improved from last year, but I'm still skeptical about it, considering they're facing the Ohio State defense, right? And on paper, and how Ohio State plays and how they've grown the past few years, is that now they have a physical defensive front. So very concerned about the consistency of offensive line play against the defensive line of Ohio State. But man, I think they ain't played no Damon Williams yet. They haven't played a Jonah Coleman yet. And I don't think they've played a Denzel Boston yet. With all that being said, guys, I'm going to meet in the middle here. I am going to pick Ohio State to win the game, but I'm going to pick Washington to cover. Because I came on here last week and said with the utmost confidence that Tulane was going to beat Ole Miss, and like I refuse to humiliate myself like that again. So 31-27, I have Ohio State over Washington. Ohio State to win, Washington to cover, but would not be surprised and would absolutely love it, not just for my preseason prediction, but also just for college football this year if Washington got it done. Would be mildly surprised, but wouldn't be shocked out of the room. I'm definitely going to be pulling for the Huskies this Saturday.
Yeah, another thing about Damon Williams too, like he can take off with his legs. He runs like a running back. Like Hunter said, if you can go watch any Washington highlights, when he's running the ball and you don't like, if you watch like the play like midway after he has the ball in his hands and takes off, he looks like a running back or a receiver. That's how this guy runs the ball, and he can take over at any time. So excited to watch this.
He's so quick. Like you see his little legs move so fast.
Yes.
I think for Washington, like if they want a real chance to win this game, they have to either hit an explosive play very early, or like big defense, maybe force a turnover, maybe a special teams play, whatever it is. Like if they can set the tone early, I think this is going to be a 4-quarter game. So we will see. Run through the lockbox real fast. My favorite play of the week is Ole Miss on the money line. I'm very confident in this one. And, last week I was very confident in Tulane to cover 13, and they didn't sniff it. So with that being said, I'm very optimistic. I'm going to be optimistic this week. I'm going to pick Ole Miss, and I'm very confident that they will win the football game. The spread is 1, so I'm not even going to try and lay one and worry about a push here. I'm just going to go with the money line. Houston, pretty sure they play tomorrow night. If they don't play tomorrow night, they definitely play Friday night, but I know it's a weekday game. They're traveling to Oregon State. Houston off a bye. I watched Houston play against Colorado, who I think Colorado is better than Oregon State, and I think that this number has crawled up to about 13.5, 14 now. I think Houston's easily 2 touchdowns better than Oregon State. They're pretty abysmal this year. And I like Willie Fritz, and Connor Wegman looks really good so far this year. I got Iowa plus 8 right now. I've actually not officially bet this yet because I think this line's going to continue to move. You might ask, who's Iowa playing? They're playing Indiana. Yes, the same Indiana that went 63-7 against Illinois at home last week. This is just a casual letdown spot. They're traveling on the road to Kinnick Stadium. Like, this is just what Kirk Ferentz does. He gets highly anticipated opponents come into his building and gets them into a phone booth and goes into a boxing match with them, and sometimes wins the game outright. So I'm going to wait and see what this line ends up at on Saturday, or if it goes back down to 7.5, I'll go ahead and pull the trigger. But right now I got it at 8. Hawkeyes, who, how the hell did they score 38 points? Like, that just doesn't seem right. I'm sorry. That really pissed me off last Friday. They blew the under for me, and Jake was on it too. Moving on, I got going back to the teaser well here, this time with Arkansas and Notre Dame. I said points. I'm getting 6.5 here. The spread was 4.5 when I took this. So I got Arkansas at plus 10.5. More than a touchdown and a field goal. Sign me up. I'll take that. I think that they have a good chance of winning the game outright. So if I can get 10.5, I'll take it. And I'm going to probably just take the over number straight up how it is. So if you give me 58, absolutely. And then this is Friday night action. FSU versus Virginia. This is low-key a look-ahead spot for Florida State, as they're going to get Miami and Tallahassee next week. And I'm going to tell you right now, College Game Day is going to be there. This is like one of the biggest Florida State-Miami games of my lifetime that I can remember. Anyways, Virginia's been putting up a lot of points. Chandler Morris has been rolling in that Tony Elliott offense. I think Florida State, they've played Kent State and East Texas A&M in between Alabama and now. So I believe that, they're going to give up, a few touchdowns in this game, anywhere between 2 to 3, maybe a few field goals mixed in there. But with that being said, Virginia's defense is Charmin soft, and Tommy C is going to get his, brother. Tommy C is going to get his, and I think the Florida State offense will score a good amount of points. So I'm going to take the over 59 in that one.
Good stuff, Hunt. My short, coming off of a terrible week. This is a bounce back week. My short home favorite of the week goes to Georgia. I think Georgia wins on Saturday night. Call it biased. It is. New Mexico State in the Rio Grande rivalry against New Mexico. New Mexico coming off of a very emotional win over UCLA last Friday night. Shout out to Hunter Waldrop for banging that. The last 9 out of 10 matchups in this rivalry has been under the final score. Winning margin has been within 10. And history tends to repeat itself, huh, Tyler? So I'm going to keep this early rivalry within 2 scores. Give me New Mexico State to keep it within 2 touchdowns. Illinois plus 7. I hate it. I do. It sniffs blowout again, but I'm not shying away from the fact that I picked Illinois to be in the playoff preseason. Tennessee. People are saying, Mississippi State beat Arizona State at home a few weeks ago. Good deal. Good for them. Tennessee, I think they blow the doors off of them. I really do. I don't think it's close. I don't know why, but a lot of people are going to be picking Mississippi State on the upset. I'm rolling with the Vols here. North Texas, my new darling, sneaky G5 team, Hunter. Talked about this in the recaps. Look out for North Texas. That's all I'm saying. True freshman quarterback, and they've been dealing. They score points. Were favored by 2 last week against Army and rolled for the majority of the game. And then Army snuck back into it. It was an overtime thriller. Now they got South Alabama at home. South Alabama gave up 38 to Coastal Carolina last week, 33 to Tulane, 31 to Auburn, which it is Auburn. I think North Texas scores like 50 points here, and they win and cover to keep rolling 4-0, or it would be 5.5 for this week.
I love it. I am not too sure about these picks. I did it kind of quickly trying to get ready for the episode. Memphis is going to Florida Atlantic. I think they covered the 13.5-point spread. Memphis looks good. They just came off a big win against Arkansas. They're going to keep rolling. LSU money line. Me and Hunter got a little rivalry going here. I've got the Tigers. Western Kentucky is playing against, I got to remember who this, Missouri State. I've been pretty big on Western Kentucky all year. So I've got them winning and covering the spread of 4.5. Georgia Tech is playing against, I got to remember this one too, Wake Forest. Yes, Wake Forest, not a very good football team. I've got Georgia Tech covering there, winning big. And Syracuse is playing against Duke, coming off that big Clemson win. I think that they continue their momentum and at least keep it close. I think they have a chance of getting the win in that one, so I'm going to take Syracuse there.
Yeah, good stuff, guys. Except I think I have like 3 or 4 underdogs that I just picked against some of y'all's bets. We'll get to that in a second. The triple option this week. How did we do last week? I know it didn't hit. I had UTEP money line, and they lost to something called Louisiana Monroe. Jake had TCU. They won, and Tyler had Cal minus 11.5. They got beat. They got shut out 34-0. Ripping the chat. Oh, speaking of, Cal travels coast to coast to Boston College this week. I'm gonna lay the points with Boston College. I can feel that one coming. But our triple option this week for those listening at home, only plus 150, so it's a smash spot, right? That's what Jake described it as. BYU money line. That was my pick. There you are. Going on the road to Colorado. I think they're a much better team than Colorado is. Jake has Tennessee money line over Mississippi State on the road in Starkville, and Tyler has the Florida State money line over Virginia on Friday night. Saturday Shockers. I'll let you two go first, and then I'll hit on mine.
Yeah, I'll go. I got Arkansas. We talked about this one. I think they have the better. I think it's going to come down to who has the better offense and who can score the most points and who's going to have the ball last. I'm going with Arkansas. Yeah, give me the Razorbacks. Give me Sam Pittman to get a big one.
I have Liberty. I think that they got a good shot against Old Dominion. Old Dominion's looked good. Obviously, they had the blowout win over Virginia Tech, but Liberty's one of those teams. They're always going to hang in there. They haven't looked great to start off the year, but the odds are plus 460, and I think they've got a shot. Can't beat that.
There you go. So last week, me and Jake have a group chat with nobody where we are just a bunch of gambling degens, and I sent 5 outright winners last week. I'm pretty sure 3 or 4 of those 5 hit. I know at least 3 did, maybe 4. I can't remember. But I did pretty solid last week on those. So I'm just going to go in here and rattle off a few that I like. Obviously, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see that I have the Washington Huskies plus 285. I'm going to be honest, I don't really have a straight up dog that I love. If I did, it would be Arkansas like Jake has, but Jake was on that, and I've been on the Washington train, so I'm going to live and die by the sword here. I'm going to ride with my pick and go with the Huskies. But I'm going to rattle off a few other ones I like because I'm just not dire love with this pick like I was the New Mexico Lobos a few weeks ago. Missouri State to beat Western Kentucky. Sorry, Tyler. It really is nothing against you. I had this one written down before the show. They've actually been pretty competitive this year, and they're at home. It's a short line. I like I don't know if they're called the Grizzlies or the Bears, but Missouri State. Kentucky, they're traveling to South Carolina. Kentucky usually gets one of these games. A little soft spot. Line's only 5.5. I don't hate it. Mississippi State versus Tennessee. I kind of like Hail State in that one. I think I might take the points, but not sure yet. Not sure if that's going to be a best bet, but I think it's an intriguing game. And finally, I'm surprised Jake did not have this one on here, to be completely honest with you. TCU over Arizona State and Tempe. Last week, we saw Arizona State travel to Baylor as 2-point dogs and get the win. Who's to say TCU can't do the same? And Jake, we will be taking the under in that game. Okay, we're done with the Big 12 overs, and we're here for the Big 10. We're here for the Big 10 overs, here for the Big 12 unders. But if you would like to parlay the Washington money line with the Arkansas money line and the Liberty money line, that would give you a grand total of plus 4,900. So bet $10 to win 490.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the Big 12 thing because me and Tyler said that I told him that me and you missed the memo when the Big 12 and the Big 10 flip styles of play, and it's just We missed that. I don't know who forgot to send us an email and tell us that, but we'll be prepared on Friday night.
Absolutely. Well, guys, that will do it for our Week 5 preview. It's the best weekend in like sports. We got this loaded college football slate. We got some big NFL heavy hitters. I know the Chiefs play the Ravens. I also know that both those teams are 1-2, but they're still good football teams, right? We got some good NFL matchups. We have every single MLB team playing this weekend, all 30 teams going into October baseball. Nothing like it. And then the most fun event in all of golf, the Ryder Cup, happening all at the same time this weekend. This is the time to have 12 TVs just lined up because there's going to be nonstop action all week. This is what we live for, folks. But don't forget, even with all that fun stuff going on, that there are things bigger than football out there. Thank you guys for listening as always. God first and God bless.
Appreciate you, Hunt. Tyler, you got anything before we get out of here? All righty. As always, we're on YouTube. Please subscribe to this video. If you're watching, if you're listening, take a few seconds out of your day to go subscribe to this. We're on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Enjoy your weekend. Take it all in. It's going to be loaded. Can't wait for it. That's podcast 129, Week 5 preview.